rotting man lies on his side with his eyes looking straight through you. Bits of cargo belt lie on the ground around him. His body is supine and open to intrusion by autopsy. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
Of course, there is a moral to be drawn from it. A moral to this story.
What would that be?
The dead man looks, too, with barely contained excitement to hear the moral of his story.
I think that may well be the moral of every story, officer. Good. Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous. You hear cracks as the lieutenant moves his sharp fingers inside the flesh, like the creaking of an old house at night.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system. Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen, hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living. You feel like you're about to throw up again, straight in that mouth of his. No, you don't. You can keep it in. You can keep anything in. You manage to suppress the contractions trying to enter your stomach. All it takes is concentration. Through it, you see nothing but darkness. More meat and darkness.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus. Hepatobiliary, Na. Are you a hepatobiliary expert?
Hepato means liver, and biliary, the gallbladder and bile ducts. Nothing in your alcohol-soaked memory directs to having forensic expertise on either one.
Neither am I. That's it. Same for toxicology and serology, Na. Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there?
Reservoirs? No, but do they take obscure trivia and odd tidbits?
No. Like a toxicology screening? At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if he was brimming with cocaine. But still, you should add a request. Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 feels. Leave a 4th one too.
Be thorough if you want maximum results.
Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted. And your opinion, officer? Agreed. Next injury? So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Right. Next. Nothing. Just in case. A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible. Think for a moment. There's time. Don't rush.
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and it leaves much to be questioned. But it's a start. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over. Well, we established probable cause of death. Some would say that's the goal of an autopsy. We also requested a toxicological screening. That was thorough. The results should arrive in a couple of weeks, if we are lucky. I would not hold my breath. We were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional field autopsy. I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg for processing.
You tilt your head, also looking at the corpse. I'm sure we didn't get everything. There's always something.
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Come back later, Corporal. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams.
I thought we decided to leave it to processing. Let's not...
Damn it. This is turning into some sort of mega puzzle. Okay, so you can sneak out of your room maybe, after he's gone to sleep. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath. You run your hands over the victim's cold body, his limbs, his torso with its swollen organs. Maybe you should be more thorough. The genitals in his breeches continue to be unnoteworthy. You see the penis of a dead man. If you've seen it once, you've already got the picture.
Can't get enough of that dick.
Do you think we missed something? I worked as one of those processing guys for a year. They are butchers and clowns. I once saw 20 CODs go misidentified in 1 week. Chances are slim to none that they'll find anything useful in processing. In short, you and I are the last line of detection. If you're not sure we got everything, we need to look again. And for that, we need to refrigerate the corpse. Hey, wasn't there a giant ice bear sarcophagus below that building? Now, detective, I've rarely been disappointed by the size of a giant ice bear fridge, but I think we should still take a look at it first. Make sure it's big enough before we carry him over. Let's move. With every hour, whatever we are looking for in the deceased will become harder to find.
Both cables are unplugged from the breaker box. Somewhere in the dark, a giant electric... The bear's eyes are still glowing red, watching over all the ice cream wrappers hidden inside its belly.
It's certainly an eccentric choice, but it is capacious and cold enough, too.
Your visual confirms you could fit 2 more bodies in the ice bear fridge.
Shall we go and get the body, then? I'll take the head, you take the feet. The stairs won't be easy, but we'll manage.
The 2 of you, easily. The body is heavier than you expected and stinkier. It takes half an hour to get the butcher, then 10 more minutes to stuff it into the fridge. The lieutenant takes a step back to admire your handiwork.
Beautiful. A dead body in an ice bear fridge. This is some of the best police work I've ever done.
You've definitely earned a drink after this. Perhaps even some pagan rites.
No, not really. Look at that. What have we done? We stuffed a dead body in an ice bear fridge. This story does not leave this room. Did we though? Okay, maybe we did. At least we've stopped the body from decomposing further. Now you can conduct another inspection under controlled circumstances.
Inside the icy realm of the ice bear fridge, the corpse stands slumped, waiting. Your arm reaches out and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. You feel cold, dead flesh through the latex glove. It's right under the palm of your hand. His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a rubber spider, your gloved hand crawls on his features. They are swollen shut. You need to really push to get in. Only the little one fits. The flesh changes shape as you bore in, searching for something in the cartilage. The thing you're looking for, it's not there. Crawl out, spider. The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base of the mouth, lolling around like a scallop. A vision of black and dark red death pried open by your hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. Death fumes rising from his throat. And there, in the back of his mouth, above the bell of the uvula, right in the soft palate, you see a hole, barely visible to the human eye. It is swollen shut, almost vanished. No larger than 0.4 centimeters in radius, the edges appear darkened. An abrasion collar. This is what we're after.
Abrasion collar.
A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound. Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers. As you push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brainstem. Yes, that's what this part is called. You've seen the drawings. You've studied them. The basal ganglia feels clumpy. What entered here has torn apart his reptilian complex. This man will never sleep again. Never wake. Your yellow fingers slide into the remains of the limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The tearing extends deep into both hemispheres. This is what he used to regulate his emotions with. The lieutenant answers with the sound of his pen on paper. Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow. All the muscles in your body harden. Time to enter him. Your fingers reach toward his skull. His cerebral cortex feels like jelly. Cold jelly. Strange fluid streams down your wrist as you push deeper until you feel it on the tip of your finger. Ice cold serrated metal. Its edges cut right through the latex and into your finger. The pain is barely noticeable under the adrenaline rush.
Can you get to it?
There's a tiny crack, a protrusion in the cranium, right in the back of his head. Your finger must be pointing straight at it, from the inside. The object that is in there stops just short of the skull, in the encephalus, knocking this tiny fracture into the cranium.
We have the makings of a very small exit wound here.
You pick the object between your index and middle finger. Feels sharp, like metal. You press your teeth together. Your jaw is clenched. All you need to do is just... The inside of the head feels cold and smooth, like a glove. Sweat dripping down your brow. Careful not to lose the prize between your fingers. With a plop, your hand emerges from the mouth. The garden glove is covered in blood right up to the wrist. Between your fingers, a small flower. A blossom made of lead.
A bullet.
The bullet falls in the bag, leaving a smattering of blood on the plastic. He raises the bag under his eyes and says,
A non-calibre. Rifled. Some kind of brittle alloy. Fractured on impact. Of course, you deserve it. We need to add an item to the injury list. Injury number 4. Oval entry wound with an abrasion collar. Soft palate, back of mouth. High velocity. Temporary cavity in brain tissue. Small exit wound on the occiput. How does that sound? Opinion, fatal injury. And one last thing. We should amend injury number 3, ligament mark. New opinion, non-fatal, post-mortem, treatment.
He's proposing the bullet was the real cause of death, and the hanging an attempt to conceal this fact.
Treatment, officer, is an attempt to manipulate the body after death, to hide the real cause with a false cause. In this case, this injury here. Yes, and the belt around his neck, the hanging, even dragging him to the yard. All of it was done after this man was already dead. I have had my doubts since you showed me the tracks. Why did they carry him over? Why not march him, I thought. There was no satisfying explanation. There have been other signs too. Small details. Everything is too neatly designed for us to assign probable cause here, as we did, full-heartedly. Well, no more.
There is, of course, the very real possibility he was both shot and hanged.
To put him out of his misery? It's possible, but it doesn't explain all the other dubious things here. Lack of struggle, primarily. I may be intellectually sloppy, but I prefer one theory at a time. And this just smacks of treatment to me. That's for us to find out. But this, it will make finding them just a little easier. To hide something. The real killer? The real motivation? What really happened here? Yes, we should take a closer look at it. I am certain it has more to tell us.
This little thing could reveal much about the weapon that shot it.
Oh, you really do. I am glad to hear you say that. Your room in the Whirling in Rags should come with a bathroom. Be sure to make use of it in the evening. We bag the corpse and carry him to the holding pen of my kinema. I can transport him to processing myself, but I will be gone for the rest of the day. Work on the case. Tend to personal matters. Try not to do anything too dangerous. An officer needs backup in a neighborhood like this. I'll leave that choice to you. And one more thing. Great work, detective.
After you bag the corpse, Lieutenant Kitsuragi will leave the party until tomorrow morning. You can do side tasks, and even the main case, but it might be more difficult. Plan his exit accordingly.
Yes? What do you want to know? What's there to say? It's just stupidity. The cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the Industrial Harbor. Yours or mine, as if we somehow own parts of the city. Typical street gang mentality. So we've let the Union make a mockery of law enforcement here, and now it's come to its natural conclusion. Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez than who has to. It's an orphan district, in other words. I think the dispatch desk just told both our stations about the hanging. There was quite the brouhaha at the 57th, I can tell you that. Time to settle it, they said. Cop off. But I assure you, I am not their finest or toughest, with 102 cases solved. What I am is least interested in a pissing competition.
So he volunteered to represent the 57th, but not out of competitiveness. On the contrary, somewhere in your mind hangs a dark green blackboard. There are two columns. One says, cases solved. The other, confirmed kills. The rows are endless. Jean Vicmer, Judith Minot, a special consultant. What was his name? Then the rows degrade into green nothingness.
Yes, I'm an unrepentant spoilsport. Well, technically, the official record keeper has been known to double count murder-suicides.
A common accounting gimmick used to inflate precinct stats.
I'm good enough for this case. I'm not here to compete. I came because I had to. My fellow officers, the sergeants in particular, would have made this scene into a circus. Martinez? Nothing. It's just a puddle at the end of some drain pipe. No one cares about this place. They care about sports. Most of our colleagues don't even know how to get here. north of the interchange, doesn't exist. No. Was there anything else you wanted to ask about the competition? A good joke. It's not that many. Officer, I'm sure you have a lot more cases solved. Now, was there anything else you wanted to ask about the competition? If not, we should move. Yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it. Yes?
Look at you. It's because you're a failure. They sent you to Slight, Precinct 57. Just think about it for a second. You're a raging alcoholic who showed up 3 days late wearing piss-stained disco garb. You weren't sent here to win.
I've considered it. It would be immensely ugly of them, not to mention unprofessional, but I also think it's somewhat unlikely. I checked the records. This jurisdiction dispute, who polices Martinez, reaches back to the 30s. It's as old as my station. And all this time we can't decide who gets Martinez? I think, yes, both stations would prefer a win. I am the finest of nothing. Safe? No. But you're old. You've made it this far. Something has brought you through. We've only just started working together, so I don't know what it is yet. But it's there. So no, I don't think they sent you as a joke. And even if they did, they are in for a surprise.
An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. The bullet is safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp. Kim has filled out the label on the bag with the item number, case number, and date and location the bullet was found.
What? Well, if I was the bullet, which I'm not, I would say find the weapon that shot me. If we find who owns it, we will have likely found who used it, possibly to kill our victim. In conclusion, the more we know about this bullet of yours, the better.
The squashed bullet has some sharp edges where the jacket has split open. It feels cold, even through the bag. You wouldn't ordinarily have cause to handle jacketed bullets. The citizens' militia uses cast bullets only. Little pebbles of metal loaded from the muzzle, usually in a cartridge. The jacket of the bullet is made of a yellowish metal. It has blossomed out to reveal a dark grey core. The base of the bullet is close to 5 millimeters in diameter. You can just about make out a few striations near the base of the bullet. Little hairlines, linear. It feels standard. It's quite destroyed. Some of the fragments are still lodged in the wound.
What can you say about the bullet so far? A jacketed bullet. Okay. It would have been shot from a military-grade breech-loading rifle, not from a muzzleloader like those typically found on the streets of Martinez.
Highly unusual. The people of Revachol haven't carried breech-loading weapons like this for nearly half a century.
Even the RCM uses ordinary unjacketed conical bullets. This is strange. Very strange. I like this, officer. Strange means unique. Unique means incriminating. We need to find the gun that shot it.
A rifle, revolutionary period. Your bullet looks to be an old 4.46 millimeter from the surplus left over from the turn of the century. Probably an antique or a retrofitted antique. The 4.46 caliber was widely used with the Belmargrave rifle, a Revacholian manufacturer. The BM dominated the battlefields of the Insulindian theater of the anti-centennial revolution 50 years ago. Incidentally, you have just such a rifle with you. The dusty old thing you found hidden in the basement below the commercial area. It's unusable, sadly. If it were, the bullet would probably fit the chamber. No, but Zeliger, a major firearm manufacturer, ended up with a surplus after the war. So there are still a lot of these old military rifles floating around, usually broken. The quality was appalling. Antiques enthusiasts, guerrilla fighters in distant countries, a few lucky jamrock bangers. You're looking for the same thing you found in that hidden weapons cache, only in working order.
What are you thinking? Bullet? Okay. And? An antique. That makes sense. There can't be many breech-loading rifles floating around in Martinez, or anywhere in Revachol, really. Sure, there's some arms trafficking, but the laws prohibiting the use of breech loaders we inherited from the monarchy have been effective, from what I've seen. Some new RCM recruits get impatient with their muzzleloaders once they've trained with military-grade weapons, but they realize it's worth it in the end.
Prohibiting peacetime law enforcement to front-loaded rifles is a policy enforced by the Moralist International in all the nations of the Real Belt.
Imagine if everyone, cops, citizens, had access to firearms that could shoot multiple rounds without pausing to reload. After the first shot, the second, third, and so on come much easier. But back to the investigation. Doesn't seem that likely, but we'll check out all possible leads. Next step, finding the gun itself.
An inconspicuous pile of the roof. An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. Because there's a secret door hidden behind the panels of Eternite. That's why they're too orderly. There it is. You see a shabby little door.
What is this then? A tool shed? Let's investigate.
Be still, my beating heart. It's amphetamine, sweet amphetamine. The lieutenant isn't studying the powder in the mirror. He's studying you. There's a good vague way to ask where he stands on drug use. Professionally, I mean.
Perhaps not. This is below our pay grade, detective. How see that ladder there? It's probably another way into the industrial harbor, no? A secret path the local kids use.
Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing here. When the wind ruffles the cloak, you can most definitely see a white rectangle on its back.
Yes, it's probably yours. It bears the RCM insignia, and you have a habit of being careless with your equipment. You could probably make the jump. You look like you've done some track and field in your day.
The wind is aggressive up here. The lieutenant looks at the enormous crane towering in the distance over the container yard. That machine is a Kvalsund 1020 HK.
Is it? Kvalsund makes a lot of heavy equipment, but this is phenomenal, even for them. But I digress. We were focusing on your cloak here. I was under the impression we are on our way to meet the king of this castle under siege, Evrard, one of the people we're interviewing. This way we may be able to get around his henchmen. Or it could be that we are just exploring. The cloak? I do think it's yours, yes. As to whether you should go for it? Well, it doesn't seem too dangerous. 2 meter stops. Whenever you're ready to do it, I'll be right behind you.
The cloak looks like a bag of goodies floating in the wind. Who knows what its pockets may hide? Nope, no. That's still too high. What were you thinking? You're not a gymnast. You're a boxer. And you've climbed way too high up here. You could have died there. Shit. I'm failing you. This wasn't part of our deal.
Hey! What happened? I understand. We can always come back when you are feeling better. It's just a cloak after all. Yes? Excuse me? You have a...
A moment passes. Tarpaulin cloak with possible RCM markings is still caught on the railing. tarpaulin cloak with possible RCM markings is still caught on the railing. As you leap in the air, a chilly breeze engulfs you, sharpening your senses. Ankles tingling from the tension, blood roaring in your ears. You are ready for your rendezvous with the concrete pavement below. As the concrete floor welcomes you, you realize it's been a while since you felt so alive, alert, capable. Must be the adrenaline.
I knew you could do it. My climbing down might not have been as disco as your jump, but at least we can explore the harbor now.
With your feet firmly planted on the concrete, the noise of the harbor rushes back in. An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "Tokens unavailable due to strike. Use change." On second glance, someone has forgotten to properly close one of the drawers.
It's unfortunate for the Union to just leave their paperwork lying around like this.
The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a well-organized selection of brown folders. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, from Muindi, Grad, and even Ilmara. And the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol, Couron, Coal City, La Delta, and Jamrock are listed among the many districts where the imports are being sold. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus, but the lines are getting blurry. The drawer slides. The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover. Because Friesel was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. In short, the embodiment of everything the communards wished to overthrow. It's satire, you see. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. Just no advertisements, you notice. So who's funding this radical commentary? After rifling the pages with your thumb several times, you return to the table of contents. The magazine is divided into several sections. International developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, du cristal à la fumée. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, crystalline structures of capitalist ideology turn to smoke under communism. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée, unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel. La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers. Only 4 issues in, and it sounds like they've already alienated their readership. Perhaps they've overestimated the market demand for this kind of commentary. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today. Yours in struggle, the editors.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling the thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between the EPIS nations and the Free State of Semenine. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border, something about bear wrestling in Samara, book riots in Yugograd. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bear wrestling. Flip back to that. It seems to be part of a new public fitness initiative in the People's Republic of Samara, SRV, devised and promoted by none other than President Kenajinsky himself. According to this extremely credulous account, Uncle Sport, as he's affectionately known to his people, has recently decreed bear wrestling the national sport of the SRV. Based on the description in this article, he appears to be an extremely competent and democratically elected president. Sapormat Sport Kenajinsky is well into his 3rd decade as president of the SRV. Outside Samara, he's known for 3 things: brutal repression of internal dissent, monumental corruption, and a near pathological obsession with physical fitness. Don't forget the moustache. Right, like all Samaran men above the age of 40, President Kenajinsky wears a truly spectacular walrus moustache. It's quite straightforward. A standard match features 1 man, or in some cases woman, against 1 bear. 2 competitors, 1 ring, 5 rounds, or until incapacitation. According to the SRV's Ministry of Information, the program has been a tremendous success. Public support stands at 87%, and youth obesity and alcoholism rates are down 12% and 7% respectively. This is the SRV we're talking about. If you think those are the real numbers, there's probably a guy who wants to sell you a bridge in La Cherte. What are you, a statistician? Did the moral intern send you on a fact-finding mission. This is the SRV party line, comrade.
The Samaran People's Republic? No, I should expect not. Why do you ask? They're quite the spectacle, as I understand. I've heard they make the people in the front rows wear plastic sheets, on account of the blood, you see.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. Why they decided to title this one section in Volda is beyond you. Obviously because it's cool to drop random phrases in foreign languages. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. The Tip Top Tournée is an inter-Isolari racing series, mostly known for its high speeds, ludicrous sponsorship deals, and high death toll. In Revachol, it's held quadrennially on the prestigious Zero Carousel racing circuit. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her interviewer. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colorful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip Top Tournée. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships, and then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes. So, all of it, basically. Oddly enough, this article has two bylines, Nasteb Encolada Bernal and Exilus Buka. There's no way those are real names. Have you ever met anyone named Exilus? Come on, they're plainly pseudonyms. More than that, they're likely anagrams. Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even one as elemental as the joy of racing others around a track, is reduced to an advertising opportunity. Thus, the so-called tournée becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers, your discount laundry detergent racing against a pack of Astra cigarettes, or even a fritter. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real racers that you're really watching for. Sure, you think that, but subconsciously, it's the visions of brand names being engulfed in flames that you crave. That's because you haven't been reading critically. But don't worry. The whole point of these sorts of articles is to let someone else read critically for you.
Ah, come on. Can this article read your mind? A certain kind of young man reads one or two books and suddenly thinks he understands the secret structures of reality. If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor. much less a motor race. I take whatever they write with a large grain of salt.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dockworkers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. First we take Martinez, then we take La Delta. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside Apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. The writer G. Martin remarks dryly that capitalists love wealth redistribution so long as it's only redistributed upward. It's true, the rentiers have been bleeding you dry. You really ought to find your own place one of these days. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. The file cabinet stands steady as ever, and the unlocked drawer slides out to greet you. Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a background in logistics would be able to really make sense of it. However, there is a little handwritten note stuck on the side of the drawer. It appears to be a to-do list written in large, uneven capital letters. Remember, Leo, Everart's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everart's plants, sweep office floor, more banners. All items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself is crumpled.
Everard Clare, probably, the head of the Debarders Union. One of his aides must have left it. Nothing incriminating here.
The special borscht seems a bit odd in the list. Remember, Leo, Everart's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everart's plants, sweep office floor, more banners. All items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself is crumpled. The drawer slides. This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud. Listen, it's okay to take a few minutes to yourself. Sit down and have a breather.
If you must. But please hurry. We are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. There's a framed photograph on the table. Looks like the inhabitant is rather pedantic when it comes to order.
Let's get going. The entire neighborhood can see us up here.
Container, container, I'll turn you nice and red. Container, container, put the logos on.
The lyrics to this container song are being made up as he goes along. The accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's Ubi, from the vanishing peninsula of Ubisunt on Muindi.
Container, container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, container, now belongs to Everard. Everard, he looks after everyone. Huh? Well, hey there. How can I help you, mister? I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the scabbing kind, if you know what I mean, mister. Oh yes, born and raised in Irish, mister. Mum had to leave my dad after he got a bit violent. Took us here to the new world. I was about 10 then, too old to lose my accent then. People say us Ubis are up to all sorts of trouble with sheep and other animals and whatnot. I just want you to know there was never any of that where I come from. No, sir. Those are just nasty rumors.
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them. Sure, mister. About what? Bye-bye. Oh, hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larice said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my apartment building. They can only get so far before they're aching to get back. And lots of folk really did keep coming back. No trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. It's like that old saying goes, wisdom withers if not shared. And old Leo is always up for sharing. Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes I am, yes I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
The containers in the yard are green in Wild Pine's livery, and the mountains rising behind Leo is all red in Union colors. It's like some red infection was spreading outwards from the container yard's core. There appear to be cisterns underneath the Union container covers.
Oh, I don't know, mister. They say it's some chemicals. Most of them have labels on them, I think. No, not really. Mr. Everett doesn't tell me all the big things. Says I go and tell them to everyone.
Yes, they are hiding it from the inside. All the red containers have the Debarders Union logo on them.
Oh, no trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike. Ha! We haven't worked for 2 months now.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Everard is in his office, where he always is. And Jean-Luc is guarding the gate. But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Everard sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's union business. Him and his boy stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Everett telling them to take some time off. I guess the boys got a bit too rowdy and had to let out some steam. I don't really know the details. That's just how boys are, you know. I haven't been in a fight since I was in middle school.
Easy, Leo. Let's keep this on the hearties.
Look at him. It's not going to be anything useful anyway. Don't fight it. Better to go with the flow.
I remember I was the runt of the class. The bigger boys always used to pick on me. You see, I had a bit of a temper back in the day. Flew off the handle like nobody's business. But Mr. Everett and his brother always came to help. Once they beat old Noel Becker so bad he needed stitches on his head. Noel never started another fight with anyone after this. Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar are real nice guys, mister. You should go talk to Mr. Everett. I'm sure you'll be good friends. He's friends with everyone around here. Yes, yes. Everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way. Leonard Bellick. But everyone calls me Leo. I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town, and Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Everett is away. Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to suckle on once the dinner is done and me and the missus sit down beside the radio. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes I am, yes I am. Oh, Lizzie. She is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years she was gone, and when she came back, she was all fancy and lawyerly.
He respects that word. That's obvious.
But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood. Knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community one day, I'm sure. If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids. Dr. Lemaitre said so, and she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years she has.
Law school? Could she be talking about the union fixer, aka the gardener?
Looks like it.
I'm not sure what a fixer is, but she is a real nice girl. Smart as a whip too.
Telling the gardener you know her name might throw her off. Perhaps something to consider later.
Oh yes, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head of mine ain't so good at keeping things in no more. I almost forgot about the borscht. Oh yes, I've been taking special whirling borscht to the men every day since the strike started. It's very, very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel like I could take on Mr. Renadan's boar dogs every time the lunch is done. Yes, yes. I'm taking it to them. The borscht keeps them happy and in fighting spirits. Makes you all warm inside. They brew it in the whirling in rags. Oh, the whirling's cook. He makes it. Them is always talking with Mr. Manana in that weird language and laughing together. He doesn't speak what we speak. He's from Grad. Oh, sure, mister. Sure. You do that. Yes, sir.
He didn't actually understand what you meant, and now he's just nodding along.
Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. They're just waiting to be loaded up. Oh, you want Mr. Everett then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this here neighborhood. Guys like Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school we did when we were boys. Oh, Mr. Everett is where he always is. In his office, of course.
Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised to see you. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing. He simply stares at you, with a mixture of expectation and impatience, well bottled.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting up. You understand?
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand, looks like a torture device.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. I'll do my best. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized
It's nothing. Yes, that's probably right. It's nothing. Forget about it. Filter it out.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your backside.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with the cafeteria manager. Go ahead, take it.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No union man in him. A real piece of work, that boy is.
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least don't thank him for it.
Is there anything you'd like to say to me? Or...
No.
Cool? I wouldn't go that far. I'm sure there are cooler things than delivering a comically oversized novelty check to a cafeteria manager. But, sure, if that's what's cool nowadays. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that lost gun.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only two words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun. When he said, "Don't worry," he actually meant, be very worried.
I know everything, Harry. Right now, I know that you're worried. Don't be worried. Everything's going to be all right. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded. Who does this guy think you are? Ronnie the Rookie? You ain't worried about no lost gun, or unpaid bill, or forgotten name. You're the bad cop. You're probably more corrupt than him. Fuck yes. You're part of the old guard, the ancient guard, the most corrupt, unholy cops in the land. Chill out like the black dragon you are. The fat man does the same, sinking deeper into his chair than one would think is physically possible. He's good. Now lean in with some corruption.
That we do, Harry. Let them say what they will about you and me. We're both born fighters. Why, thank you. It's always nice when a fellow professional appreciates your work.
That's it. Now kick back and add a final flourish. For dignity.
You strike me as a reasonable man, Harry. I like that in a lawman. Let's cut to the chase, shall we? What can Everard Clare do for you?
I think we'd like to ask you a few questions. Don't you think so, Detective?
Somehow you managed to get yourself out of this one. Now quick, keep the momentum up. Ask questions. Whatever you do, don't ask him about the gun first. You don't want him thinking you're scared.
Harry, honestly, I'm just relieved you didn't get a hernia. A man your age... You did look like you were gonna collapse and die when I told you about your lost gun. Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well-informed man. Information reaches me before I even get the chance to request it. Of course, let us dispatch with the formalities. You call me Everard, I call you Harry.
That's what the hanged corpse called you. Harry.
My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are a fantastic science fiction amnesiac cop, aren't you? What are the odds of that?
I think the odds of that are very low.
It might be a good idea to hide your confusion. I mean, see what his game is first.
So good to hear that, Harry. Apparently my sources were wrong. However, if you did have a spot of memory trouble, I could help you out. With my big fat folder.
Words flow like a river of honey from his lips. I guess word has already reached him. No matter. No harm done. It's just a brown folder. You can't make out what's written on it.
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind? Me and Harry are talking about his lost identity right now.
Don't just jump to the folder. That's not smart. Shows you're on the edge. Do some probing first.
It's Harry. Harry Dubois. And I can work with you, Harry. Now, what else can I do for you? Family? Harry, you're not a family man. There's not one peep of family in here. Unless you think you're a family man, do you strike yourself as a family man, Harry? That's why I like you, Harry. A good man knows both his strengths and his weaknesses, and you, my friend, you are one of the all-time greats. Well, Harry, if I were to sum you up in one word, it would be apologetic. Yes, you seem to be. A lot of the time. But right now, there's no reason to be. Let loose a little. Be you.
He's probably just making a guess based on your recent activity in Martinez. Everard's large hands are covering the folder, but the look on his face says, I know everything about you, Harry.
Oh, Harry. Oh, wow. This is really something.
I'm sure it's not that bad. At worst, he has an old RCM folder, and I very much doubt even that.
So how about it, Harry? You need assistance, I presume? Ah, this? My friends in your organization gave it to me, Harry.
This translates into, haha, you guys are so corrupt.
I find that very suspicious. May I have a look?
I'm afraid this is meant for Union eyes only, Mr. Kitsuragi. I'm sure you understand. Please continue, Harry. Of course, Harry, of course. Let's not linger on personal details and amnesia. You wanted something from me. Let's hear it, Harry. Of course, Harry, of course. Let's not linger on personal details and amnesia. You wanted something from me. Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in Martinez. I know everything that goes on around here, and I would love to discuss it with you. I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, it's been weighing on me so heavily. I understand you need to interview me. But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean, if we could just calmly talk, exchange information, we could blow this thing wide open.
Yes, that sounds good. Let's do that.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines, incredibly talented at opening doors. Oh, you're being too modest, my friend. But don't worry, this annoying thing I have is completely legal. I just need you to open a door.
An excellent opportunity presents itself, sire. You could win the trust of the arch-liar, pretend to play into his hand. Then, should you wish, bend his efforts towards your own.
Harry, I'm a very busy man, and more importantly, I don't have that extraordinary physique you do. You look like you could run around all day.
You want to send someone a message that the police are working for you.
I repeat, I'm a very, very busy man, Mr. Kitsuragi, and therefore I must occasionally enlist outside help. So what will it be, Harry? Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. Nothing for you to worry about. A loud blabbering weasel. When weasels feel no one is watching, they start acting foolishly. Just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. I just want this to be over so I can discuss business with you. Harry, my dear friend, I am what people call a local bigwig. I know everything that goes on in Martinez. Fantastic, my friend. Just let me know when it's done and we can take our friendship to the next level. You can get the key from Manana. He's down by the gates. Manana's like a free agent in the Union. Special operations. Hardened socialist. A real free thinker too. He'll tell you precisely where the door is. One last thing, Harry. Just open the door. You don't need to go in or anything. I just want that weasel to come home and see the unlocked door. Oh, that's very nice. I haven't gotten around to her yet. I'm very, very busy, you see. I hope you're getting along. One thing I want to make very clear, Harry, is that this is not some kind of union versus corporation situation. Everyone is just pals here. Yes, we're all trying to do what's best for Martinez. Don't feel like you shouldn't work with her just because you and I are such good friends. I'm not a jealous guy. What do you mean, Harry? Nothing. I let him go. He's an old man, Harry. I wanted him to spend more time with his family. God knows how long he's got left. Harry, I have little people in my organization. I would never call someone a midget. What is this? Honestly, I'm beginning to think you're a midget, Harry. I'm only kidding, Harry. You're not a midget. No one is. We're pals. Vanished? Harry, the woman left her casserole in the oven and couldn't make it here in time for the voting. Oh, did I leave my casserole on? Better go home and check. The election can wait. When she got back, the whole thing was over.
Wait, there was no mention of a casserole from Joyce.
Harry, Harry, Harry. Do not fixate on this little matter. Maybe it was a rabbit stew, or a hairdryer, or an iron. The point is, her heart wasn't in it. Mine was. Yes, yes. Low balling, of course. This isn't a casino, Harry. Real people, real livelihoods are at stake here. But everything's a casino for those rich types.
His expression makes it clear. This is childish and irresponsible behavior.
If she actually wants to see me, she will find a way. Any good negotiator would. And I just don't have anything to discuss with a bad negotiator.
It's a fortress. He knows she can't get in here.
Of course, Harry. Let me just assure you one more time. It's perfectly okay to share anything we discuss here with this Joyce. This is a completely transparent organization. I have no interest in what she is doing, but I myself have nothing to hide. Your business is your business, and I respect your privacy. Just remember, none of this is secret. Tell her about all of it. My brother's picture, my singing swordfish clock. Tell her how overweight I am and how I'm helping you find your lost gun. Tell her about everything. Everard doesn't mind.
It is rather interesting to tell people things about each other, isn't it? It was nice telling him about her right now.
I don't know what that means, Harry. Shady brew? There are so many moving parts in my operation, I can't keep track of them all. You know what? Don't even tell me. Whatever it is, do it. Surprise me. Just one thing. If you can, make it even shadier.
He sincerely has no idea what you were talking about. And he doesn't care either.
Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. They're turning every stone, searching every playground, asking kids, grandmas, everyone. Your gun will be found, Harry. Let me assure you of that. It's just a matter of time and effort.
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage. Who knows? Only one thing is certain. If you work with him, you're going to get it back. And working with him might be the only way to do it.
Yes, thank you for the hot tip regarding your lost gun, Harry. My men have indeed factored in that you pawned it. Now please, let the professionals do their job. Kick back, Harry, relax. I have great guys on this. You focus on what's important. Building our relationship for the good of Martinez.
It did not come as a surprise to him. He might actually not be bullshitting.
Damn it, Harry. That's exactly what it means. I'm only kidding, of course.
Of course. I understand. We help you, you help us.
Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here, you're one of us now. A real red and white Union man. Take care, Harry.
control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. A container is attached to its hook block. Marche. On. Arrête. Off. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. And, with a surprisingly quiet thunk, the crane places the container down. The harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. The crane can rest again, now that its purpose has been fulfilled. Moving this container, of course. For this purpose it was built. For this purpose it has acted. And now it will rest.
I can't see how that was worth the ruckus, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard.
Is this like your thing with that wall again? You do? Because I don't. There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? You just picked one out because you wanted to interact with a cargo container. We are not here to interact with containers. We are here to talk to the Union, right?
No reply. The knock produces a hollow ring of metal. Doesn't sound like there's anything inside the container. You attempt to turn the handle, to no avail. The doors seem to be mechanically locked. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. Despite the dirt that surrounds and trails you, a beacon of light emerges from deep within you. The door stands silent.
Satisfied, detective?
Try again. Just like that, you hear a click, then a rattle. Some mechanism unlocks itself inside the door.
Ahoy! Come on in!
You can't be serious.
The man stands at the far end of the shipping container. It's hard to say anything more about him. You cannot make out any of his details, but you do feel the overwhelming presence of Cabot. The feeling causes all the hairs on your body to stand at attention, like soldiers preparing for review. Something's amiss. The light beams bend around his face and scatter in 1,000 directions. It seems the laws of physics do not apply here. They are suspended, distorted, and echo. Trying to visualize the physics at play is liable to give you an aneurysm. Don't think about it too hard. In the general stillness, Only your tongue moves, flickering as you utter.
Welcome. Come in. Make yourself at home. Sorry, I'm not better able to receive you. I wasn't expecting visitors today.
You can't hear him exactly, yet you're able to understand every word he says. It is very strange. An overwhelming hum covers everything. Voice doesn't escape from him.
Now, what can I do for you, gentlemen? Who am I? Oh, I haven't been asked that question for such a long time. I don't meet a lot of people outside my circle these days. Anyhow, my name is Rustam Theodore, investor, license holder, and extremely high net worth individual. And you are?
Mr. Theodore, I am Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi of the RCM, and this is my partner.
Pleasure to meet you, Harry. Public service is a noble cause.
Oh Lord, not this again. Oh, nothing. It's just that we've got this murder to solve, and yet you go around asking everyone about money. And every time I ask, are you sure this is related to the case, you say, sure, Kim, I think it is. And yet, it never seems to get us any closer to solving the case.
It's quite alright. I'm used to the question by now. To be blunt, I inherited my fortune from my grandmother, who herself was an extremely high net worth individual back in Graz. All I did was take her fortune and invest it prudently. Believe it or not, it takes more than a bit of skill not to blow a vast fortune on sailing boats, bad choices, and unsupervised state policy. I gotta tell you, at first, being rich is a lot of work. You've got to work hard because everything's so darn expensive. You know, prices increase exponentially at this income level. But then, once you've reached my position, it's nearly impossible for me not to make money. My assets are so diversified that I'm bound to come out ahead no matter what. Some of my lower net worth friends say to me, but doesn't that take all the fun out of it? And I tell them, not really. And that's what? Unjust? I think it's perfectly just. Listen, Harry, I used to be an idealist just like you, but the truth is that we have no objective system by which to measure someone's value other than the market. We should just embrace that rather than resist it. The hand that allocates resources among men is invisible and cruel, but it is steady, measured, indeed, it is just. Capital makes one speechless, does it not? Blinds like the sun that rises from beyond the horizon after a gloomy winter.
Hey, all this talk about money has made you lose the thread. What is going on with the light in this place? That's what you need to ask him about.
What do you mean? Are you talking about my chin? Oh, that's what you mean. Yes, I've heard of this effect, though I've never witnessed it myself, of course. It has something to do with our Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient.
The Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient is a ratio designed to reflect the difference in net worth between individuals. When the coefficient is close to 1, or 100%, it means one person possesses all the net worth. Among that group of individuals, it's been observed that when the Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient reaches about 0.96 or so, the laws of physics begin to bend around the high net worth individual. The Weiss-Wiesemann coefficient for you and this individual appears to be 0.9998, repeating. That's not good for you.
Among other things. But calm down. I'm but a lowly single-digit billionaire. No, not really. There are actually quite many digits.
I see nothing of the sort. To be frank, all I see is a gentleman who's unusually well dressed for Martinez, in a cargo container, which I admit is odd.
Yes, I imagine that does look strange to you. My container. Traveling. This is a great way to get around. It's fun, it's safe, and it gives me lots of time to think. By the way, let me now ask you a question. Where are we exactly?
In the very, very early days of colonizing this archipelago, the kingdom of Sirens, a precursor of a modern Sur-le-Clay, used to own the city of Revachol, an obscure detail in the bigger picture, but still worth dropping.
Ah, a fellow history buff. I myself am currently reading up on Franco-Nigerian era trains. Very interesting stuff. It's a shame I can't get out and explore myself. One of the downsides of being an extremely high net worth individual is that mobs of low net worth individuals are constantly banding together to ask for money. There simply aren't enough hours a day to hand out all the handouts. It's like feeding seagulls. There are always more, and they never seem to do anything interesting with it. Except more seagulls. Spending money is a matter of desire. I'm sure you agree. I don't have the desire for spending it like that. Smart, you know? It also provides a means to hide from all the targeted advertising we extremely high net worth individuals are constantly subjected to. Luxury yachts, high fidelity portable radio systems, bail-proof outerwear, and so on. It just gets a bit middle class after a while. A bit bourgeois. What? No, I did not say that at all. Being rich is great. Just don't tell anyone I told you that.
Could you please stop asking people for money? It does not reflect well on the RCM, and to be perfectly frank, we can't afford to look worse than we already do.
It's perfectly alright. Based on your appearance, I can tell I'm dealing with a smart man. As you may know, us high net worth individuals do not have a lot of cash on hand. Investments and liquidity are enemies of one another. I think I only have coins for coffee machines. Here is 3 real. How much can you get for this? You're welcome. You know, maybe you can make that money grow. Come up with an investment plan. How's that sound? Thanks for stopping by. If you ever have an idea you want to pitch me, I'm all ears.